Here goes then, mate.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that are wondering why there are two best men standing up here, it's perfectly simple. Richard wanted to appoint the best man for the occasion, but sadly he couldn't find one, and after looking around, found two barely competent ones instead. Now, for those of you that don't know, the history of our friendship dates back some 25 years. This friendship consisted of four close friends: myself, Paul, Rich, and Fainty. Being as we spent our formative years growing up with Rich, from the age of about 5 or 6 years old, most of our humour has been shaped by him. We tried to make this speech as funny as possible, so if it's not, please blame Rich.
Now, the events of many a stag do are clouded in mystery, with the deep held suspicion of drunken debauchery and many regrets the next day. However, on travelling to Manchester Airport bound for Berlin, the bus driver was getting slightly worried when a conversation struck up between Fainty and Rich on how best to prolong their Saint-Tropez spray tan. If you will, ladies and gentlemen, please spare a thought for that unfortunate beautician who had to spray tan two grown men in paper thongs. Now, I wasn't aware of this, but apparently there are many difficulties in keeping a spray tan looking its best. After Fainty started to complain that his tan was peeling, Richard's expert advice was that he hadn't moisturised.
Cheers, mate.
Right, mate, no worries. Once Fainty and Richard swapped their beauty tips, it was time for something a little more manly. On arriving in Berlin late at night, there was some urgency to get out on the town. After a quick turnaround, getting ready in the hotel, we were ready to hit the streets of Berlin. As we all know, ladies and gents, Rich is getting a bit thin on top. I'm sure you've all noticed it. And he started to sport what can only be described as a comb-over. Richard, not being one to miss an opportunity, spotted a mannequin stood beside the reception desk, advertising sportswear and donning a lovely wig with long flowing locks. Richard promptly relieved the mannequin of her rather fetching wig and decided it would be a good addition to his outfit. Over the performer, Richard hit the streets of Berlin, smoking a cigar, performing his best Ozzy Osbourne impression to any passers-by. It's one of those moments where you had to be there, so to recreate that moment, it just so happens that we have certain props to give you a better idea of what it was like. Now, Rich, if you'd like to stand up, mate. Good. I've got some little mementos, mate. Yeah, that's on you. And then,
Mate, it's on, so everyone can see it.
It's light in here. River Island.
never had no problem last time, mate.
You can't remember last time. That's very true.
We've got any hairdressers in the house?
Jelly! So be prepared. Yeah.
Now, read what's on that card.
That looks about bang right, doesn't it, that one, Rev? Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Ozzy Osbourne. Sharon! Thought on that. That's brilliant, very good. Sharon, we need to get that on.
None of you will know this, but I've actually already congratulated the group. Rich, I said to him, well done, mate. We'll always look back on today as one of the happiest and the best things you've ever done. Fitting words, I thought, at the end of a fantastic stag do. During our research, and yes, believe it or not, this was researched, we found that this wonderful occasion might never have happened if Richard had listened to the advice of two brothers, both close friends to Rich and Ali. We changed the names of these culprits, but for the sake of the story, let's just suppose the names are Carl and Lee. And for the sake of completeness, let's say their surname is, I don't know, Olney. After much persistence on Richard's behalf, and many a drunken night spent in Tonka's nightclub, the Olney brothers, that's Carl and Lee, advised Rich that he was wasting his time pursuing the affections of one Alison Truman. Rich never wanted to give up on the challenge, only had eyes for Alison. And the 34 double Ds. After 5 happy years together, Richard finally plucked up the courage to ask Ali to marry him. And luckily for Rich, Ali isn't too fussy about who she spends the rest of her life with.
Usually it's customary to compliment on how beautiful the bridesmaids look, and I think we all agree in saying that they do look absolutely fantastic. Not as much as you, Ali, you know. What people fail to realise is just how much effort the groom makes into looking good. Rich, your fake tan's still looking good, mate. Richard possesses a very diverse range of friends, and here are a few well wishes that we'd like to read out.
Richard, you're a lucky groom. You've married Ali, who's beautiful, smart, funny, warm, loving and caring. And she deserves a good husband. So thank God you married her before she found one.
Richard and Ali complement each other very well. Ali is ambitious, industrious, highly motivated and loves a challenge. And Richard is that challenge.
Good luck, Rich, from all the lads from the Berlin Stag Do.
Rich had a great time on the stag do in Berlin. Rich, that reminds me, by the way, you owe me €50 for that lap dance, mate.
Marriage is a wonderful thing for Richard. It will teach him loyalty, self-restraint and control. And it will develop in him a sense of responsibility, fair play, and so many other qualities you wouldn't have needed if you'd just stayed single. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to Paul and myself. If you're having a fantastic time today, which I'm sure you all are, that's a direct result of months of hard work and meticulous planning by Alison. And a little help from Richard.
They have done an incredible job to make this a truly wonderful wedding. So please all stand as we propose this toast. To Rich and Ali.
Now someone couldn't be here today and they wanted to congratulate you. And by the powers of modern technology, we've managed to get in contact with them via a satellite link.
Dad, turn around.
Say
So I hope you had a really good time.
Chris.